Hi, I'm Sharon. I love to touch. Now, that may seem a little strange to some people. However, touch is actually one of our basic human needs. And even in nature, this need for touch is constantly being reflected. In fact, I want to share with you a story about this chimpanzee and how his story reflects the power of touch. I have these friends who are totally into chimpanzees. They are completely fascinated by the similarities between humans and chimpanzees. In fact, they call human beings human chimps. Anyways, in the past few years, there have been all of these crazy studies done by scientists that show these incredible similarities between humans and chimps. In fact, except for size, our human brains are very similar to chimpanzee brains. In fact, there are so many similarities that some of these scientists want to reclassify humans as a third species of chimpanzee. The other two species being the bonobo and the chimpanzee. Okay, and here's another weird thing. Genetically, we as humans are more closely related to chimpanzees than to gorillas. It's really bizarre. Whether or not you subscribe to this idea that we humans should be classified as a species of the great ape, I do think that there are very valuable things that we can learn from observing chimps. So my good friend Joe and I, he's one of these guys that refer to humans as human chimps. We were having this conversation the other day about this program that was on Animal Planet. And this program told the story about this particular chimpanzee. And this chimp had been chained up for all of its life. He was sequestered from other chimpanzees. He was completely neglected, and he was not able to receive any physical contact or any touching. So after many years, he had become thin and frail and withered away and completely emaciated. And he had entered into this semi-comatose state. And then here's the really weird part about it. He lost all of his hair. He became this bald chimpanzee. So thankfully he was finally rescued, and he was placed in this chimp sanctuary. And for the first time in his life, he was able to finally experience physical contact and touching. Well, he was finally able to live the life of a normal chimp, to touch and to be touched. You know how chimps love to touch each other all the time and groom each other, all that good stuff. So he was finally able to do this. And what happened is that he made this complete recovery. He was like Lazarus risen from the dead. I mean, we could even just call him Chimp Lazarus. The power of touch had restored and resurrected Chimp Lazarus from near death. Chimp Lazarus became this massive beast of a chimp. He became powerful and he was dominant, and all of his hair grew back. Yes, it's true. His hair grew back entirely. His whole body was covered in this beautiful, shiny, lustrous hair. Speaking of hair, if you want to become bald on purpose, I suggest you use the head blade. It is a blade that is specifically designed to shave your head. Obviously, I have never used the head blade on my head. As you can see, I have a lot of hair. Now, if you've been following my theory here, you might be able to say that this massive amount of hair could qualify as empirical evidence for the amount of time I spend touching myself. That was a joke. By the way, just for the record, I am in no way making any type of scientific correlation between hair loss and lack of touch, although that could be a very lucrative business. I'm also not suggesting that Chimp Lazarus's full recovery came exclusively from physical touch. I mean, after all, he was a chimp that had been chained up for all of his life, and his recovery came from many things, including interaction with other chimps, being part of a community, proper diet and care, as well as an abundance of touch. We humans, or human chimps if you like that, we are social animals, and it's our nature and our inevitable condition to interact with each other. So physical touch is such a necessary part of our life. It allows us to love and be loved, to nurture and be nurtured, and it also allows us to communicate in a way that can actually be more honest than verbal communication. So if you're wondering about any of my references, I list them and go further into this topic in my blog. So thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for more talk on touching.